Ever get stuck in the middle of something super important and then, boom, you're tripped up by a tiny detail? Like it's small, but it throws everything off.
Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. We've got a client who ran into a real snag because of, you won't believe it, duplicate entries in their purchase receipt inspection checklist.
It's crazy how a little thing like a duplicate entry can cause a chain reaction, especially in these ERP systems.
Yeah, talk about a headache. To help us break this down, we've got Prashant joining us today, an associate functional consultant at Tiana Solutions. He's got a ton of experience, over 4 years, navigating the ins and outs of ERP for clients. We're talking about reports, inquiries, even Power BI integrations, you name it. He's tackled over 350 unique situations, so he's definitely the guy you want in your corner when things get complicated.
Oh, absolutely. And in this case, the client's duplicate entries in the inspection checklist were bringing everything to a standstill. They couldn't confirm receipt of the goods, and that meant everything else was on hold. So it was like a bottleneck in their whole workflow. Can you paint us a picture of what was actually happening?
So imagine you're receiving a shipment, right? A bunch of parts. Each part needs to be checked against a list, to make sure it meets certain standards. That's
Yeah.
your inspection checklist. Now, picture this. For whatever reason, the checklist for a certain part is showing up twice. It's a duplicate entry, and the system's confused. It doesn't know which one to use, so it basically stops you from confirming that you got the part.
Okay, I see how that would bring everything to a grinding halt.
hmm
So how did Prasund and the team at Tiana get this sorted out?
Well, they had to really get into the nitty-gritty of the system settings down to what's called the stock item level.
Hmm.
Think of it like the individual record for each part in their inventory. Turns out the duplicates were happening because of how the checklist was set up for each of these stock items.
Gotcha. So it wasn't like a system-wide error, more of a problem with how this specific checklist was configured.
Exactly. So Prasant came up with a really neat solution. First, he cleared out those existing checklist entries, the ones causing the duplicates. Then, to stop it from happening again, he added a custom-built button right on the stock item screen.
Ooh, a custom button. Those are always fun. Tell me more about this.
This button was cleverly named the Update Inspection Checklist button. Basically, it let the client reload a fresh checklist based on what's called the item class of the stock item.
Hold on a second. Item class.
Yeah.
Could you break that down for our listeners who might not be fluent in ERP?
Sure. In a lot of ERP systems, you can group similar items into these classes. For example, all your bolts could belong to the fasteners class, regardless of size or material. This helps keep things organized in the system. What Prasant did was link the checklist to that item class level so it's consistent and no more duplicate entries.
Clever. So instead of having a separate checklist for every single bolt,
Yeah.
they now have a standard one for all fasteners. Not only does it fix the duplicates, but it streamlines things too, right?
Yeah. Exactly. And to make sure everything was running smoothly, they tested it out on the purchase receipt screen, and boom, no more duplicates. System's back on track. Client can confirm receipt without any issues. Really shows how understanding your ERP system can lead to some pretty neat solutions. Prasant didn't just fix the problem, he actually made the whole process better.
It's a great point. This whole deep dive just shows how these little things, like duplicate entries, can really spiral out of control. But it also shows the importance of having the right people on your team who can figure these things out and come up with solutions that work.
Definitely. And what's interesting is this solution, even though it's for this specific client, it kind of shows a bigger idea. The value of customizing things to fit your business needs. Sometimes the out-of-the-box stuff just doesn't cut it.
It's like trying to fit into a shoe that's the wrong size. You need something that's just right, something that supports you properly.
That's a perfect analogy. And in the business world, that perfect fit often comes from these custom solutions that really tackle your specific problems. Like in this case, that update inspection checklist button. So simple, but it really streamlined the whole receiving process for the client.
So for everyone listening, what's the big takeaway here?
I think there are two big things to remember. First, don't brush off those little problems. They can have a domino effect on your whole operation, so you got to catch them early. And second, don't be afraid to ask for help. Companies like Tiana Solutions, they have the know-how to diagnose these problems and come up with solutions that make a real difference.
It's all about having the right partner to help you navigate the digital world.
Exactly. And you don't have to do it alone. There are people out there, experts, who really care about helping businesses like yours get the most out of their processes and reach their goals.
And before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with something to think about. We saw how Prasant and his team at Tiana Solutions fixed the duplicate entry problem. But how can you stop similar problems from popping up in your own systems?
What can you do to prevent stuff like that? Well, it all comes down to paying attention to the details, being proactive.
Right, like staying ahead of the game.
Yeah, exactly. So are you seeing any weird errors or inconsistencies in your data? Are things taking way longer than they should? Are your employees having to find workarounds just to get things done? Those could be signs that something's off.
So it's like those little hiccups that can be a sign of a bigger problem lurking beneath the surface. Kind of like that saying, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
That's it. And don't be afraid to get your team involved. Encourage them to speak up if they see something, even if it seems small. Sometimes the people working on the front lines are the first to spot potential problems.
It's all about open communication, right? Making sure everyone feels comfortable raising concerns and working together to find solutions.
Absolutely. And remember, even the best systems need regular checkups and tune-ups. Don't just assume that once you fix something, it's fixed for good. Regularly review your processes, look for ways to improve, and stay up to date on the best practices.
It's like taking care of your car, right? You wouldn't wait until it breaks down to take it in for a service. Regular oil changes, tire pressure checks,
Right.
taking care of those little things before they turn into big headaches.
Exactly. And when it comes to these complex systems like ERP, having a partner like Tiana Solutions can really make all the difference. They can help you spot potential issues before they happen, develop custom solutions, and provide ongoing support to keep everything running smoothly.
So if you're hitting roadblocks in your business processes, or even if you just want to see how you can make things run better, don't hesitate to reach out to the experts at Tiana Solutions. You can give them a call at 678-910-2774 and see how they can help you streamline your workflows, boost your productivity, and ultimately achieve greater success. Sometimes those little tweaks can lead to the biggest improvements. Keep diving deep and stay curious.